you can never describe it. Last month, there was another case. The ones who committed this heinous crime, they're still at large in India. Because the secular India is gone long ago. That 91 cases every day, they get reported in India. Minorities, they are not safe anymore. Of atrocities against the minorities in India by the upper class of Hindu, or let's call them Hindutva, or let's call them Nazis of the East. The sane Indian friends who are watching this video, what's gone wrong with you? Are you not man enough? Get up and defend your people. Although it seems a beautiful sunny day, but believe me, it turned out to be a very bad day since early morning. I think majority of the credit goes to the story I read in the morning, and that story was about one of the girls. She hails from a Dalit family in India. She got raped by upper class Hindus, Brahmins, and she hails from Uttar Pradesh, UP in India. She was raped there, and initially I think it was 2 weeks ago that she was raped there, and she was raped and tortured to an extent which can never be described. If you're a human being, you can never describe it. From local hospital, they referred her to New Delhi's hospital, and she was in New Delhi's hospital right now, where she was being treated, and she couldn't survive. She eventually died, and she died yesterday. And salt on the wound, what they did, they didn't even bother telling the family about that she has died, and they burnt her body. And one of the Indian journalists, luckily she was present there, she made a footage of she getting burnt under the supervision of the police. The police officers there, they were stopping everyone to go ahead and describe it more, or take the footage from as close as they could, but she couldn't. She did take a footage from a distance, and police was having no words to describe it, what it was. But that's how she ended. She belonged to a Dalit family. Dalits, although they are considered at the time of birth, they are written as Hindus, but they are the lowest caste of the Hindus. So that's why they are not having any rights in terms of their religious rights. They are untouchables. They get discriminated everywhere. When it comes to jobs, they are not preferred. Even if they are on merit, they don't get it. And if someone commits a crime against them, it's not considered a big deal, as we have just seen. And this is not the first case. Last month, there was another case. I think it was 16th of August, when there was another case. This girl, she was 18-year-old, and the previous one, the last month's Dalit girl, she was 13-year-old. She was brutally raped and murdered. And the ones who committed this heinous crime, they're still at large in India. And let me tell you, if somebody says that India is a rapistan right now, Hindustan is a rapistan, I think is the best suitable word for India. Sadly, I must say, because the secular India is gone long ago. It's some other kind of India, but what we're seeing, it's Hindustan, or rather call it rapistan. Why I call it? Because I was just going through a few facts, and the facts were shouting out loud that it is a rapistan. Every day, reported cases, Board of Crime, it tells, it's written all over that 91 cases every day they get reported in India. It's average. Every day, 91 rape cases they get reported. And experts or people who hawk upon these sort of cases, they believe that the cases would be far bigger than this which get reported. So if cases which get reported are 91 average, it shouldn't be considered as 91. It should be considered as double than that or triple than that. So this is what is happening in India. In India, minorities, they are not safe anymore, and world needs to look at it. World needs to look at it. And guess what? I was asking one of my friend, he's an Indian journalist. I asked him that, you know, when they put a case, what did they write in that? Do you have any details? Then he goes like, by the way, this friend of mine, he's a Dalit and he's a journalist. He said they put the case as crime against the minority. And in India, crimes against minorities, they mean nothing. I mean, anyone can commit any time, and then later on, things will be sorted. The biggest example is in front of you today. Today's Barbary verdict is in front of everyone. All of the accused, they were acquitted today. They were acquitted. And that's what the judicial system of India is right now. Anything which is being committed in terms of atrocities against the minorities in India by the upper class of Hindu, or let's call them Hindutva, or let's call them Nazis of the East, it would never be punished. Never be punished. You write it down, it will never be punished, because what we are seeing is India is a fascist state. India is a fascist country of the world right now, and world is doing nothing about it. Why? Because they have preferences, trade preferences, foreign policy preferences. They want to do trade with a fascist country like India. Bigger the population is, more the business you can get. How stupid is that? How barbaric is that? You want to do business at the expense of atrocities committed against the humanity. And you know it very well that it is going on in there. Another news from yesterday. Amnesty International. It's getting closed down in India. Why? Because they are not being permitted to work. They are not being permitted to work in India. They are being harassed. Their workers are being harassed. The same journalist I'm talking about, he told me that there are numerous occasions when these people who are working for Amnesty International in India, they get harassed, especially the girls who are working for them. They get chased by the intelligence services, by RAW, by police, by everyone, by authorities. Why? Because they want them not to work for Amnesty International. Or if they want to work, then they have to say or have to do what the Hindutva regime tells them to do. So this is today's India. This is today's India for you. And nobody is doing nothing about it. Nobody is bothered about it. You know, there was a time when people used to talk about what's happening to Christians. 1984. What happened to Sikhs? Golden Temple. Thousands of Sikhs were slaughtered. Jarnail Singh Bhidrawala, he was slain. And then later on in Amritsar and New Delhi, the riots against Sikhs, thousands of Sikhs murdered in there, butchered in there, and nobody did nothing about it. Then later on, we started talking about what's happening with the Christians. There are numerous places in south of India where churches get burned, and it's on record, and it's been highlighted as well. But nobody condemns India. Nobody condemns India. And then about Muslims, well, I don't need to highlight anything. You know it very well. Whatever's happening against them in Kashmir, in interior India, in elsewhere, everywhere in India, they are being considered as the biggest enemy of Hindustan. Hindustan, I would call it. I would never call it India anymore. And rather, I think Brahmanistan is the best suitable word for it. Because if we talk about the Hindustan, Dalits are considered as Hindus as well at the time of birth. But they are not being considered Hindu by these Hindutva goons. And if they're not being considered as Hindus by them, then I would rather call it Brahmanistan. It's Hindutva Brahmanistan we are talking about. And I think world needs to look into it. And the Indian friends, the sane Indian friends who are watching this video, what's gone wrong with you? Are you not man enough? Get up and defend your people. Get up and defend your people. Shame on you if you're not defending your people.